Now, as you can see here, I haven't been using that. I actually have it runs prettier every time I run save. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So inside of VS Code, go to the extensions, which is this one here. And I have one called Prettier, which I'm pretty sure is this top one here. Yep, this one. It's the one that has a lot of downloads, so over 8 million. And just say install. Okay. Once you have that installed, then I want you to go to your settings. So you can either do that through code, preferences, settings, or command comma. And then you need to turn on two things for me. One of them you want to turn on is format on save. So the editor format on save, check that one. That's probably off for you. The second one that I want you to check is require config. So prettier down here, you can see mine's not checked. So prettier, require a config. So check that one. So you want prettier to run, but you only want it to run on projects that prettier is actually installed on, right? You don't want to go into some other project and have prettier run on it, because then you're going to modify literally every line of code, and then the Git blame is going to be on you for every line of code, which is unfun, I will say. Okay? So now that I've done that, this project doesn't have a config yet. We haven't made one. So if I go and do this, I'm saving it, and notice that it's not fixing it. That's what we want right now, right? We only want to run on projects where it has prettier. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a config file. So create a new file, save it to the root directory here, adopt me. And you have to call it this. Call it dot prettier RC. I don't even know what RC stands for, but that's what all the bash config files are called. We're going to create one called ESLint RC, prettier RC, MVM RC, NPM RC. Does anyone know what that stands for? Me neither. Okay, prettier RC. Make that file. Yes, I know it's a reserved file. That's on purpose. Okay, and then I need you to put two magical characters in here. Empty object. Now, there are a few things that you can configure about prettier. You know, if you want it to be tabs or spaces, do you want it to have, you know, spaces here or not have spaces there, right? There's a few things. I told you I don't actually care. I just want it to work, right? So this is just saying, give me the default config. But if you wanted to have some sort of config in here, you could say, well, you know, single quotes, false, right? I only want to have double quotes, or single quotes, true. I only want to have single quotes, right? It'll be things like that. But again, I don't care, so I'm just going to put empty object here. So now if I go back over to app.js and I save, now it'll run prettier on every single time that I save, which is what I wanted. This can be done with Sublime. This can be done with other editors as well. Just read it off of Prettier's website. They'll tell you how to do it. Questions about that? Is that working for people? Cool. Again, I love this because it means I get to shut down like a part of my brain that thinks about formatting things, right? Like typically when you paste something in, it's like, okay, well this has to go here and I have to convert these spaces to tabs and stuff like that. You just get to shut down that thread of your brain and focus more on code. There aren't really very many alternatives for Prettier, so if you want to have a code formatter, if that's something that you want, Prettier is by far the standard. There may be others, but it's either this or nothing. ESLint has a thing called fix, which you can use that as well, but it's not the same thing.